Minister, last week I spoke here and Minister Niall Collins was there and said that we were talking about student accommodation and we were talking about the over 12 months that people now have to rent the properties for over 12 months, and he said this was going to be legislated for and introduced. But what he was legislating for is student accommodation, not private dwellings, where people actually like to rent a house. We're doing it ourselves in our house where we have a son going to college and 3 other people are renting a property. And we were told that we had to rent the property for the 12 months now because they are afraid to let anyone into the house, because if somebody goes in because of the RTB, they won't be able to get them out, and the students will have no place to come next year. So what you're legislating for is for student accommodation and NAMA properties. It's not legislating for something that a lot of people are being caught in rental accommodation. Just because it's student accommodation, it's rental accommodation for students, but it's private. So what we need for, in case like this, we need something to give the landlords that are there the opportunity that if they do give somebody a short let for, would say, if it's 8 weeks or 2 months of the time, that person is moved from there and it doesn't involve that the RTB, it's for that time that they get out of and allow the students in there, if it's a short let. But we have people that have houses that are now afraid to do it. This doesn't legislate for that. So what Minister Niall Collins was talking about, he didn't actually know what he was talking about, and I was trying to explain it to him. This is what I'm talking about. Real people that have their children away from them and they're trying to make sure that they have accommodation again for next year. That's what we're talking about. And that's what we want, to make sure that they're not afraid to rent out the house for the 2 months to allow the students come back in then again for 10 months if they so wish. That's where the problem lies. We're looking at infrastructure around this country. And I don't know how many times I've stated this, that every place that you go to, that there's a lack of infrastructure, like in County Limerick. I mentioned the Skeeton there, where one of the Fianna Fáil councillors retired after 39 years, and he was promised by Fianna Fáil that he'd have a sewerage system 39 years ago, and it's still not been done, and it's down now that it may be done starting for 2027. Infrastructure where we can bring in places for people to stay if they so wish. I was in a social farm in Kilmeedy actually yesterday, and I walked into the social farm, and to see how a community like Kilmeedy, with a social farm and what they've done in Kilmeedy themselves, and they've in a small village with a little restaurant, and they have a community place as well, how they help each other in a small community of a parish of maybe 300 or 400 people, how they help each other from the point of view if there's something on the social farm, they get all the stuff from the restaurant and they support each other. But what they're seeing is that to comply with different regulations that the government come down with, they're trying to make it impossible for them even to survive. Now, they would have students coming to them for training in the social farm because it's all around nature and around teaching people. Again, government standing in their way with different legislation. What I'm trying to say here, if you invest in the towns and villages around Ireland, they will support themselves. They won't need the support of you. But you have to invest in infrastructure, in transport infrastructure, to make sure these areas can grow. If these areas can grow, that means the people that are going to the colleges, renting different places, will come back to where they are and they will set up at home and they won't have to leave. It's, as I say, common sense is not that common. But once you have investment in a place, which is common sense, it will tell you that everybody around each other will support each other. Stop putting obstacles in their way and allow people and communities grow. Thank you.